my favourite. My favourite, there she is, my favourite. Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Welcome to the review of a piece that is frankly long overdue. It was almost inevitable that I get my hands on one of these for the channel at some stage. It is of course the Orient MAKO. Now the MAKO and its first cousin, the Orient Ray, are the natural competitors to the legendary, the venerable, the ubiquitous Seiko SKX. Now this one came from Carlos at Duty Free Island, dutyfreeislandshop.com. So a big thank you to Carlos. Carlos sells a whole bunch of Orients. He also sells Seikos and a plethora of Citizens. You will also find the Orient and the Ray added to my Amazon shop. I'll leave links in the description to Duty Free Island and my own Amazon shop below today. So the big question is the MAKO a contender or a pretender? Is it a Tyrell, a Lannister, or perhaps even a Targaryen? Let's flip the camera and find out. A long time coming then, this MAKO review. I hope it's worth it. So, comes in a nice little box actually, pretty solid little thing. Great if you've got a collection of these boxes in a cupboard somewhere. And there is the watch itself. This one in blue, they do a black, they also do a kind of Pepsi bezeled version. So let's talk about the price first of all today, because I think the price is a big factor in whether this watch is worthy of your attention or not. Duty Free Island seem to be sold out at the moment, but you can pick up one of these on Amazon for $145 almost exactly. Now, as mentioned in the intro, this is the big rival, the arch enemy, if you will, of the Seiko SKX. Indeed, I've got an SKX 007 in the house at the moment ready for some modifications. I'm going to do a head-to-head of these two next week. But the SKX these days, especially on the Jubilee bracelet, is going to sting you 200, maybe over $200. So that is a considerable saving. $55, maybe even $60. Now for $55 or $60, you can buy yourself a G-Shock 5600, you can buy a World Timer, you can buy a couple of different Casios perhaps, you could buy one of my Chinese specials for use during the week if you were interested. That is a big factor, that's a big draw for this Orient, the fact that it is considerably cheaper than the SKX. Okay then, with price out of the way, what are we going to do with this one today then? Well, the usual good stuff. Loom shot, movement accuracy report, wrist shot, and some good close-ups of this watch, and see whether I think it's $145 well spent or not. And I must say there's a very nice set of dimensions for a dive watch. 41.5mm diameter, excluding the crown, just over 13mm thick, lug tip to lug tip of only 46, so wears very nicely indeed. 22mm on the lug width, tapering down to 20 at the clasp, giving us a 22mm clasp here. Now sized up for my 7-inch wrist, this one weighs in at 156 grams, so a nice amount of weight to it, nothing too outrageous today given the overall dimensions. As you would expect, it's 316L stainless steel on the case, the bracelet and the bezel today. 120 click unidirectional rotating dive time bezel with a little loom pip there at the 12 o'clock. Bezel action is pretty good, no backplay at all. Perhaps not the easiest to grip in the world. It's got the Submariner style there. Could perhaps do with a little bit more purchase, but again, I'm just nitpicking, it's not too bad at all. Aluminium bezel insert and a nice blue dial. Let me get a zoom in on that one. Very nice blue dial, actually. Nice bit of sunburst effect there. Love that little red tip to the second hand, just adding a pop of colour. So we've got printed Orient and automatic and water resist 200 meters there just above the 6, and you can see Japan movement down just below the 6. But the indices are applied and the little Orient crest is applied there as well. Really nice sword hands on here, and an attractive frame around the date complication. Nice chapter ring as well there, just with a minute track on there. Whole dial design, very resolved, very nicely thought out, nicely laid out. If you don't like the MAKO with the Arabics at 12, 6 and 9, you can always go for the Ray, which has a more simplistic set of circular indices all the way around. But the two watches are essentially the same. Now I should point out that this is the Orient MAKO 2. There was of course therefore an Orient MAKO 1. Perhaps you remember it had that funny second crown up there at the 2 o'clock, which only operated the date. So this time they have upgraded the movement. They're calling this one an Orient Caliber F6922, and unlike its predecessor and unlike the 7S26 in the Seiko SKX, this one hand winds and hallelujah, it hacks. And the one in this MAKO 2 anyway has been a thoroughly decent specimen. There is the accuracy report, mostly in the winders over just over a fortnight, coming in at plus 6.6. You can't really complain about accuracy like that from an entry-level watch for a watch that costs under $150 and features a day-date complication at 3 o'clock there for added versatility. Case back arrangement best described as simple, not really a lot of pizzazz going on with this one today. Screw down obviously helping this watch achieve its water resistance rating of 200 meters, though it should be noted this is not a diver's 200 meters, this is not ISO certified today. You also can notice here hollow end links. So there's a number of cost-cutting measures to achieve the $145 price tag, and those end links are definitely one of them. And we do have a signed crown today, which is very much appreciated at this price point. Pretty simple finishing, just polished on the side there, and a little bit of brushing on the lugs. Again, with these cheap bracelets, there's not much of an attempt to match the polishing, the brushing, consistency between lugs and bracelet, but not too bad. Overall, looks pretty good, the Orient MAKO, I have to say. Looks more expensive than the $145 price tag, that's for sure. Now, pop up a lume shot here. Lume is okay, you know, there's plenty of it on the indices and on those nice sword hands, and as mentioned, the lume pip there at the 12 o'clock. Perhaps not blown away by the lume as you are with the Seiko SKX, so it's probably going to lose points in the lume battle to come, but overall not too bad. Not outstanding, but not too bad given the price. Bracelet is also perfectly decent considering the price point, barring those hollow end links there. Very nice, consistent brushing throughout, solid links, decent size to them as well. Just push pins, but it was very easy for me to operate, and the clasp is pretty much as good as you'll get for this price point, $150. It is a pressed clasp, which is not my favourite thing in the world, as you should know by now, but a nice deep etched Orient logo there, adding a little bit of oomph, adding a little bit of pizzazz to the bracelet there. Decent effort overall. And there is the watch on my 7-inch wrist. Looks very nice indeed, I must say. 41.5 really does split the difference between the SKX 007-009 brothers and the smaller 013. This one I suspect will suit the majority of wrists, perhaps down even as small as 6.25 inches, right up to the big boys 8.5 inches without difficulty at all. 46mm lug to lug, and a little bit of curvature to those lugs, meaning it does conform nicely to the wrist. A solid offering then from Orient, this one. Solid really is the word that keeps springing to mind. It seems to tick all the boxes nicely. It does everything it sets out to do in a slightly unremarkable but very compelling fashion, all for a great price with a great look. Moans and niggles then? Well, not too many at this price point, and I've covered most of them already. The lume isn't perhaps as spectacular as it could be, but it's by no means a disgrace. I would have preferred solid end links, but again at this price point, I'm not going to moan too much. I would also have preferred sapphire crystal, but you're only getting a mineral crystal. But if you've tried the Seiko SKX 007-009 and the 013, and you just haven't found the porridge at the right temperature for you, perhaps this is what Goldilocks was looking for. This Orient MAKO, or its brother the Ray, sitting right in the middle in terms of the overall size. I can really see why these watches have an appeal all of their own and a big following. They are completely solid, dependable choices. They look good and they offer a great deal for the money. Worth the wait then? Absolutely. So there you have it then, a rock solid offering from Orient. I do like this MAKO a lot. It really does split the difference in some ways between the 013 and the 007-009 brothers. Is it better though? You're gonna have to wait for that head to head. 10 rounds of watch boxing between the SKX and the MAKO. I can hardly wait. I've got a ringside seat for that one. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.